Oftentimes we will put things off because it can be done tomorrow. But if you're going to put off something that can be done tomorrow, then if you're willing to die with it undone, why were you doing it in the first place? You've got to decide not to waste your time believing that one day when I retire, you cannot wait until your debts are paid off. You've got to do it now. Because when you get the idea that you're going to wait, that one day will come, that one day isn't promised. Every day that you live, every moment that you have a breath in you is an opportunity for you to be great.
Are you interested in achieving these goals, or are you committed? If you're interested, you'll do what's convenient. You'll come up with stories and excuses and reasons why you can't, and you'll use your education as an excuse, you'll use your story as an excuse, you'll use all of that as your reasons why you can't. But if you're committed, you will do whatever it takes. You'll let go of your stories, you'll let go of your excuses, you'll let go of all the reasons you currently have that are formulating your identity of yourself, and you'll learn how to let that go and become who you are destined to become.
All the obstacles that you overcome in life is what makes life worth living. It's what proves that you have a purpose. It's what develops you. It's the hardships that make you hard. And when you become hard, you can stand up against things and not wilt. Do not wait to strike when the iron is hot. Strike the iron until it becomes hot. Attack everything. Become something more. You see, the greatest thing to lose in life is not life, because death is not the greatest loss. The greatest loss is to die inside while you're still alive.
The bigger issue with fine is that you say it to yourself. That thing that you want, I guarantee you, you've convinced yourself that you're fine not having it.
How people live their lives as a result of the story they believe about themselves. You live in a dominant culture that is designed to destroy your sense of self and your belief in yourself, and you have to learn ways in which you can begin to connect with this power that you have within yourself to handle where you are. The key is to be constantly in a perpetual process of discovering the truth of who you are and fighting constantly to look for ways in which you can escape the inner conversation.
Happiness is usually a result. If I get this, then. If I get to the top of that mountain, then I'll have the ta-da moment of, oh, I've got it, oh, I figured it out, which is all BS, because they're all false peaks. They're not false peaks, but they're never the peak.
You gotta get real doggish. You gotta get downright funky if you wanna make it. Now, like I was telling you before, if you wanna be ordinary, you ain't even gotta listen to me. Just go on about your business. If you think ordinary's cool, ain't no problem. It's some really, really wonderful ordinary people. But if you are sitting in this room and you have extraordinary aspirations, then you're gonna have to do extra.
You are proof positive that the impact made from one person can go to another. The what you feel in your chest now, the things that are running through your head this very moment, the fact that you are willing to give me one more rep because somebody cares for you and telling you that you can be more than what you've given. You have more on the inside than what anyone has seen, but it takes you willing to allow it to be poured out. You cannot die with all this greatness undone, uncovered.
I want what all other men want. But when the pressure hits, when the opposition hits, when the challenge hits, when the pain creeps in, when the uncertainty creeps in, when the cuts, when the scars, when the bruises come, I want what all other men want. Except when the opposition and adversity shows up, I just wanted a little bit more than they wanted.
See, the point is, you don't know how much future you've got. What's gone is gone. There's absolutely nothing you can do about it. Some of you have had terrible things happen in the past. But what's gone is gone. It's in the past. And to spend your time focusing on the past is to spend the only thing that you've got, and that's what's right here, right now, because the sand never stops running. This is all we've got. And to spend your time now thinking of what happened there is making absolute certain that the future is going to be the same as the past. Now, I don't suppose many of us spend a lot of time thinking about that, but a lot of us spend a lot of time making that error.
That's just kind of the way that life works sometimes. It's Murphy's Law. When things go wrong, they always seem to happen at once, and they just compound on top of each other. And it's pretty easy sometimes to feel beaten when you're faced with all those issues and all those problems, and they all hit you at the same time. But let me tell you, that doesn't mean give up. In fact, it means the opposite. It means it's time for you to fight harder, to dig in. It means it's time for you to go on the warpath.
It's not that they need anyone else, they need you. You are unique, you are powerful, you are a blessing, you are the gift that we've been waiting on. And anyone that has ever told you or anything less than great was trying to diminish that light. But there's a light in you that's got a beam big enough that in the most darkest moments, in the darkest alleys, in the darkest nights, it must shine. Morning comes and morning goes. Morning is today. Morning is the thing that happened yesterday. When we have to get up and make a decision, I am either going to accept what's in this morning, in this day, in this very second that I was blessed enough to have, or I can be mourning the things that happened yesterday. But there is no way that I can focus on what's ahead of me if I keep looking behind me. I will not throw away my future wondering what could have been. I will not sit here and waste away this play, this moment, this second, this job, this relationship, this moment to be everything I could. We do not have an unlimited amount of time on earth. It is so precious that it cannot be purchased. Not one man, not woman at the end of our lives can sit there and say, give me one more moment, give me another hour, give me another second, please. When it is our time, it is our time. But when it's our time, it must be our time. What I mean by that is in this very second, you've got to decide that I'm going to live out my prime.
There's not one person that you look up to, not one, that gets up every day and says, this is fucking amazing. I can't wait to do this. No matter what they tell you on social media, they still have bad days. They still have days where they want to do something else. The difference is they don't, because they're committed. When you think about where you are, where you're going, and what it is you're trying to accomplish, there's only two ways you can be. You can be the person who learns a little bit, who does a little bit, and then who decides that this really isn't for them, and moves on to something else and repeats that cycle over and over and over again. Or you can be the person who's committed. You can be the person who says, this is going to fucking work no matter what happens. No matter what, I'm fucking doing this. Those are the people that are gonna win.
There's actually two human beings in the bathroom every morning. There's you, and there's a human being in the mirror. And that human being is trying, and they've been there a long time, and they've been waiting for you to wake up and to see them. They're tired of your constant negativity. They're tired of you beating them down. They need you to be more encouraging. They need you to be more celebratory. They need your support. And when you finally wake up and create a moment with yourself every single morning where you look yourself in the eye and you see yourself and you forgive yourself and you honor yourself and you say, I believe, it is this remarkably deep and spiritual feeling of connection that you've been longing for a very long time.
We get hurt, and either we don't want to deal with it because it's too painful, or we don't know how, which I think is often the case. And that hurt, we don't like feeling hurt, but without knowing it, hurt turns into anger.
See, that's what it takes. If we take the easy route, if I just go ahead and I do the duties, I just wake up, I go to the job, I just go through practice. He said run 2 laps, I'll run 2 laps. But if you want to be great, you got to run more than 2. You got to be able to run 4. You got to be able to run 5. And when you get to the end of you, right when you want to quit, is when you got to find that extra gear. You got to flip the switch. You got to believe that this is not the moment for me to give up. This is the moment for me to discover what level up is about in me.
Where is the opening for you? There's room for you out here. Out here in the arena called life, there's room for you to come out and live your dream. Don't allow but to keep you in the corner. Keep you up in the bleachers, looking at life, being a spectator, not being a participant, making a difference in life. I believe that all of us came here with something. All of us showed up to give something, and that nobody's going to give that service that you have to give.
You have had many ups and downs in your life, and you will have more. This is life. And this is what it does. Life brings you to your knees. It brings you lower than you think you can go. But if you stand back up and move forward, if you go just a little farther, you will always find love.
Confidence comes from this, because the disease of lack of confidence is you're obsessed with everybody else thinks about you. What are they going to think? What are they going to think? What are they going to think? That's the symptom. The disease is you're worried about your reputation with everybody else because you don't have a good one with you. If your reputation with self is exemplary, you're not concerned about your reputation with others. So self-confidence comes from one simple thing. It comes from keeping the promises you make to yourself. That's it. If you begin to consistently keep the promises you make to you,
I don't care if someone didn't believe in you. I don't care if someone said you couldn't make it. Use that as fuel. Gas up. Get ready, because life comes, and when it comes at you, it must also face and prepare you. You've been battling all your life, and people wanting you to be small. You're not meant to be small. You're supposed to be big. But being big doesn't mean you have to be the fastest, the strongest, the tallest. Doesn't mean you have to be the youngest. I'm going to fight for my dreams. I'm going to fight for my goals. I'm going to fight so that everyone knows I didn't waste my time. I said good morning, and I said goodbye to those who thought I should be in mourning. One of the biggest mistakes I've ever made was to assume that everyone owed me something. Believed that I was entitled to an opportunity, to a chance to make a team, to be historical, to be remembered, to be honored. You see, Entitlement is a problem because you think someone is supposed to give it to you. As I matured and as we grow, we realize that no one's going to give anything to us. We must earn it. We must put forth effort. We must put forth hard work. We got to overcome even our own limitations, especially those aspects of us that say, quit now. Because now that I look back over my life and I've learned what hard work is, I realize that if I put in real work, if I put in the hard work, if I only had this level of grind that I've learned now, then I would have succeeded then no matter what. No one can stop you from going after dreams, goals, and becoming something except for me and you. What we do personally, individually, matters.
It's not what happens that determines the major part of your future. It's not what happens. What happens to us all. So the key is what you do about it. It's not what happens, it's what you do about it.
Life ain't fair to nobody. You just gotta fight through, man. You gotta bite back sometime. It's like haters. When you get haters, people's opinion of you is none of your business.
God uses opposition to position you for something greater. Because God knows when these things happen, you have two choices. You can let it break you or let it make you. It's because of the hard times that we are built. It's because of the struggle we are built. It's because of the trials and tribulations we are built. If it wasn't for those things, we wouldn't be able to grow more. But what a lot of us do, we take it as this isn't fair. We start silencing our gift. We start moving away from our greatness. We stop living the life that was created for us. And we let these things that were meant to build us break us.
In your life's blueprint should be a deep belief in your own dignity, your own worth, and your own somebodyness. Don't allow anybody to make you feel that you are nobody.
You want to fix imposter syndrome and people-pleasing? Learn how to stand in front of the mirror, give yourself a high five, demonstrate that you like yourself, demonstrate that you accept yourself, because if you like yourself, you don't go out in the world and look for other people to like you, because you don't need it. It's wonderful if they do, but the fantastic thing is if you actually like yourself, if you just accept where you are, you stop judging yourself, you accept yourself with some compassion. When you go out in the world, if somebody else disrespects you, it doesn't change the fact that you respect yourself. If somebody else doesn't like you or love you, yeah, it stings, it sucks, but it doesn't change the fact that you like or love yourself.
Most people don't lead their life, they accept their life. And when you accept your life, you are living on things that are not worthy of your time and effort and energy. To go uphill, you have to be intentional. Nobody ever went uphill by accident. You've never read a book on accidental achievements. You have to be intentional with what you do and who you are.
All good will be attacked on this planet. Maybe not the next one we get to, but on this one, all good will be attacked. Every garden will be invaded. Not to think so is naive. Every garden must be tended all summer.
You gotta dig deeper than your excuses. You gotta dig deeper than your physical limitations. You gotta dig deeper than everything that was about you that wanted to quit every time things got hard. Because it's easy to find an excuse. The hard part is when you don't give yourself an excuse. You decide if it means running 2 miles, if it means lifting 1 more rep, 2 more reps, and developing a habit. Because if I can learn to outwork what I was, if I can do that stuff now, I can look back over my life and realize that I wasn't anything but an excuse maker. If you want to be great, you put in practice when it's not practice. You go hard when everyone else is lacking off.
Do you want the emotion or do you want progress? Because you can't have both. I'll give you an example. You're at the gym. You're curling. You're rep 8. And your body starts to fire off those signals in your brain and it goes, stop. It hurts. If you stop, you get the emotion. You don't get the progress. That where the pain stops is when the work starts. So you either get the emotion or you get the progress, but you can't have both.
But God gave you the light, and you just shining. Even when they try to stop you, you still shining. Even when they try to slow you down, you still shining. Even when they try to come against you, you still shining. Even when they use their tactics to try to hurt you and kill your vision, you bring more light to it, you keep shining. You have to understand this truth. I understood this in my life. Everybody ain't meant to handle the light. When somebody has darkness in their soul, when somebody has darkness in their spirit, when somebody is bitter and you becoming better, everybody can't handle the light of greatness. Everybody can't handle the light of calling. Everybody can't handle the light of you being who you are. You've been ordained to be able to do what you've been called to do. Everybody can't handle that because everybody ain't that.
I say to you, the universe is calling you. The voice of greatness has called me, and I'm afraid to answer.
We've been told 2 lies in our life. The first lie is, you're nothing. You're not worth anything. That's the first lie. The second lie we've all been told is you can be anything. It's not true. The way we're wired defines what we can do with that wiring. And therefore the truth is, you can't be anything you want, but you can be everything you are.
Perspective affects and impact how you see the world, how you see people, how you see circumstances, but also it affects and impact how you do things, right? Like I always say, perspective drives performance. You can have all the resources in the world, but the incorrect perspective. And a cat that has no resources with the right perspective will annihilate you, right? Because they're driven by the perspective of what they're doing and how they're doing it. You can have all the resources in the world with the wrong perspective and not make hay, not make no ground on the mission and the purpose of what you're trying to accomplish.
It won't be easy. It will be hard because life is hard. That's what life is. And these challenges that you face, they're gonna do their best to take you down. Do not let them. Stand up, dig in. Line up those problems and confront them, face them, fight them. Do not let them bring you down. In fact, let those challenges raise you up. Let them elevate you.
We're all put here for a fucking reason. And it's not to go over here and beat on this drum about what should be and what's not fair. The world will never be fair. The world will never, ever be fucking fair. Someone will always have an easier path than you. Regardless of how difficult you think your path is, there's lots of people out there who have had that same path and actually won huge with that path.
Let the adversity you face today turn you into a better person tomorrow.
Transformation and change is possible, but it's not very probable. The probability is low, but the possibility is high. Everyone has the opportunity to change, But the path is long, hard, and often requires big amounts of tragedy, stress, and turmoil to even get someone to have that opportunity to take that path. I also believe that people don't change for people. I think people change for themselves when they realize that if I don't change, then that's not good for me. But the probability of that happening is low until something massively painful or drastic happens in their life.
How you do anything is how you do everything. This ain't saying, oh man, I gotta do this the way I do that. That's little boy talk. We talking mentality, we talking spirit, we talking disposition. We talking about how we show up and how we work for what we say we want without letting situations, circumstances, and people dictate what we bring into an environment every single day. I'm gonna say it again, not letting situations, circumstances, and people dictate what we bring into an environment every single day. We got very few things that we can control in this life.
Change the meaning that you give things in your life. Meanings are everything. How you define your life will tell a lot about how far you go with your life. When you're serious about change, you don't say easier said than done. You say no matter how hard it may be, no matter how impossible it may seem, no matter how many people walked out of my life, I'm gonna get it done.
That we don't realize that half the time, the thing that's weighing us down, the thing that's holding us back is what we're holding on to. What part of your mindset are you going to leave behind today? What part of it are you going to say, you know, I might need to leave that behind. I might need to let go of that. That doesn't serve me anymore.
Sit on your bed one day and ask yourself, what remarkably stupid things am I doing on a regular basis to absolutely screw up my life? And if you actually ask that question, but you have to want to know the answer, right? Because that's actually what asking the question means. It doesn't mean just mouthing the words. It means you have to decide that you want to know. You'll figure that out so fast it'll make your hair curl. You're perfectly capable of thinking. God only knows how. You're perfectly capable of immense feats of imagination and dream and fantasies. God only knows how you do all of that. What would happen if you consulted yourself about the best possible outcome for you? You might get an answer.
So you may sit there and look at yourself, and maybe you're even buying into the media. Maybe you're even believing that because you were born a certain race, or you were born to certain parents, or you had shitty parents, or you've suffered from depression, or all these mother things that they put in your face to give you the exact excuse as to why you can't achieve what it is you want to achieve. You need to understand one thing, and that's this. Your hardships, your challenges, your situation will either be the reason you don't make it, or it will be the story you tell when you do make it, and you get to make that choice.
The other thing is, take full responsibility for your life. We can either accept conditions as they exist, or we can take the responsibility to change them.
You gotta chase that dream before you die, man. Bishop Jake said one time, Bishop Jake said, I would hate to die and never do the thing I was born to do.
It isn't me. It's you. But it isn't me that changes you, it's you. You set the small goals, you achieve those goals, then set some more and achieve those, and set some more goals, maybe a little bit bigger, but not that much bigger. Just start. Start small. Start with changing tomorrow morning, just tomorrow morning. Get that squared away. And then move on to the next day and the next, and move your life to a better place. One little step, one little victory at a time.
Take ownership. I own it. I was soft, but not anymore. I was weak, but not anymore. I gave half-hearted effort every time I went out, but not anymore. And now that I've learned that, I'm here to make up for it. There's still time. There's time for you, time for me. We can grind now and become something great. But the only way we're going to become something great is that you're going to have to put in the work. And the thing about the work is, it's rewarding. It becomes a habit of who you are. You don't need an alarm clock to wake you up once you get this habit going. You won't need anyone to be a workout partner, because the truth is, very few will ever be able to do what you do.
See, but the real challenge of growth, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, comes when you get knocked down. Somebody said that adversity introduces a man to himself.
Similarly, there is no such thing as my life and your life. There is just a living cosmos. If you capture more life, then you will see you have more grace. The depth, dimension, and scope of your life is determined by how much life you capture within you. It doesn't matter what kind of body you have, what kind of intelligence you have. If you have not captured substantial life within you, you will live a small life. That's how it is.
Let it go and begin to focus on developing myself. And I say to you, you're going to have people to do things to you. Things are going to happen to you. And the most important thing to do is to harness your will and let it go and move so you can grow, so you can get on with your life. All of us have experienced some tragedy, and if we haven't, we will. And you can either let it destroy your life, or you can build upon it. You can permit it to let it hold you down, or you can decide, I'm not going to let that happen to me. I'm bigger than this.
Albert Einstein said, imagination is everything. It's the preview to life's coming attractions. So when you have something in your imagination, it ain't hocus pocus. It's actually a preview of a coming attraction that God has for you. He places everything He has for you in your imagination. He places everything He has for you in your imagination. Imagination is everything. It's the preview to life's coming attractions. Everything in your imagination is God showing you in your mind something He has for you.
Commitment prepares you to meet obstacles and downfalls. Because if you made a commitment to do something and disaster strikes or calamities take place or things don't go your way, you immediately start thinking, how do I solve the problem? If you have no commitment, your first thought is, how do I get out of this deal? And we generally find what we're looking for. Along the way, there's going to be those setbacks and reversals and disappointments. Again, if you've made the commitment, what you do is you continue on. People who've made the commitment not only and are overcomers, but they also prepare themselves. They expect to win. They prepare to win.
We all have limitations. Does that mean that I quit? Of course not. I'm gonna try to be the best that I can be. The strongest, the fastest, the smartest. That's what I'm gonna go for. It is possible. How close can I get to that greatness? My glory happens in the darkness of the early morning, in solitude, alone.
Make a declaration to yourself. Declare all-out war that you're going to get out of this rut.
only limits that I have, the only limits that you have is based on what's in the mind. You can overcome it. You can become a Paralympian. You can be a soldier, lose an arm, lose a leg, lose something, but still become epic, become great, because it's not what you lose, it's what you add. Add the work ethic, add the mindset, add the heart, add the spirit, and whatever else you're lacking, God can give you. But you gotta ask for it, you gotta want it. When it's cold outside and you cannot run, when it's here, when you failed, sometimes you gotta go back to the very field, the very place where you gave up, where you quit. Go back there and reclaim what you could have been, because it's still in you. If it was ever there, it's waiting to be claimed. Why don't you claim your greatness?
Failure is a part of the process. You have to fail to win. You have to lose your fear of failure.